Are you ready to run your short-term rental business like a superhost? If so, look no further than Guesty for Hosts. Guesty for Hosts offers listing management for all three major OTAs, Airbnb, Booking.com, and VRBO. With Guesty for Hosts, you can create a branded direct booking website in minutes. I've been able to hit 61% direct bookings in my business and automate daily tasks such as communication with cleaners and communication with guests. Click the link in the show notes to get an additional $20 off your first month.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
of Live,
Let,
Thrive. What is up, Micah, man?
It is a beautiful Monday, and I'm chilling. Stevie Stacks, how you doing?
See, only someone who don't work a 9-to-5 job will say it's a beautiful Monday. No one, no one ever says that has to go take their ass to work on Mondays, man. Shit.
I did take my ass to work. It's just I work in the comfort of my man cave, me, my wife, and my kids, and it was a beautiful day.
You work for you. You work for
Yes,
you.
sir.
You ain't trying to make someone else rich.
Terms.
Well, it is great to be back on your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. Short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world that is Live, Let, Thrive. And we're coming at you from Fort Worth and Arlington, Texas. And we have a special guest, Mike.
Who we got, Steve?
A special guest and a Superman, a super STR hero in the house. I'm fumbling my words, but it's Theron Lewis. Everybody knows Theron, man. He's out there saving the day for all of us short-term rental peeps. Let's give a big hand for all he's doing for the community. And yeah, man, Theron Lewis is hopping on our show finally. Who's Theron Lewis, you ask? Well, he wrote a little bio for me. He said he has saved millions of people from unfair STR government bans and has a proven system that has never failed that can help virtually all cities worldwide. So he's out there fighting the good fight for us and keeping STRs alive in our cities. Welcome to the show, Theron.
Hey, it is a pleasure to be on. This is a long time coming, long time listener, and happy to make my debut on the show. Great stuff.
Awesome. I hope everybody's watching this on YouTube because you can see he's literally wearing a superhero outfit, man. It looks like Superman, but yeah, it says STR hero on the front.
Y'all gonna miss half the value. Well, what's like this? Y'all miss 15% of the value. You'll get a ton of value on how to save your short-term rentals from bans, but yeah, it's the visuals make it even better.
And I just realized something. You can't spell hero without Theron, or you can't spell Theron without hero. You got hero in your name.
Steve, wait a minute. Whoa. I've had this name 32 years. I'm aging myself right now. 32 years. We've worked on this branding for over almost 2 years at this point. Never thought about that. I'm
you never thought about that. It's right in the middle of your name. HERO. Right between the T and the N. You got the hero.
That's it. I just need to do something with the S, but that's it. No, literally, that's it.
He's a creative.
Almost all the letters. This is, man, see?
I didn't think about that either.
Serendipity. Hey, everything happens for a reason. That's all I got to say.
That's what's up, man. Those are your real muscles in that suit.
About 80% of them. You know, they got some some costume foam over here. Let's just say the construction of this suit, I was not able to not have this on here. I can't say where I got it from. You know what I mean? Did some alterations, but yeah.
No, so you're not stuffing anything anywhere in that suit.
I'm not stuffing anything, but it didn't come without it. The base suit, it had to come with this right here. Okay. I wouldn't want to lie. All of this is me. This is 80% me right here. You know what I mean?
We had some ladies in the back chat mentioning if anything was stuffed in that suit. So I don't know, man.
Oh man,
I don't know.
It's tell them it's what's the word? It's to leave stuff to the imagination, to hold things off, not to embellish. You know what I mean? Trying to keep it professional, kind of, you know. So when I do that, there's fake muscles right here. But what can you do? What can you do? The suit 2.0 will have. It'll be all me. It'll be all me.
Just always wear the underwears on the outside, and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Oh yeah. You know. Yep. Traditional superhero attire.
Nice, man. Welcome to the show, dude. Enough about the superhero outfit. Please tell us how you got your start in the short-term rental world.
For sure. So I like to call this my origin story, pun completely intended. But yeah, it's something that now a lot of people, millions of people, are dealing with all over the world. So it is a heck of an origin story, and it's pretty serious. So on the business side, at the very least. So I started becoming an advocate for short-term rentals when I put everything into my short-term rental business, left my job, put my entire savings into my business, was out to prove people wrong, was out to make something of myself. I had a nice engineering job, but I hated it, to tell you just straight up. I hated it, couldn't stand it, wanted to, have my own business and be my own boss, et cetera, and really achieve the dreams that I had. I wanted to create something, and I did that. Got my short-term rental business in Detroit to 10 properties at that time, and was able to replace my income, was able to just really achieve my initial goal, and I thought everything was going smoothly. But I got and I'll never forget it. It was on goodness gracious, Google Alerts. I don't know if you guys know this, and this is actually a good tip. I'm gonna just drop one gem already. If you go to Google Alerts, you can actually put in keywords. So whenever something comes up on the internet that Google picks up, if it has those keywords, it'll alert you via email. And I'm glad I did this, because I had Airbnb law Detroit as my keywords. And all of a sudden I built my business. I had spent years building this up. I have 10 properties, and I'm just, I'm thinking I've finally made it to where I need to go, where I need to go in life. And all of a sudden I get this alert saying that there's this news publication, Detroit Free Press, that's reporting on the city of Detroit banning short-term rentals in 2 weeks. So they were going to be voting on the ban in 2 weeks. And up until then, all of the preliminary votes had been unanimous. And again, this is stuff that nobody knew about. Nobody was talking about this. This was all stuff done at city council meetings where nobody was present. And there's a lot of cities that are having these issues right now. This was in the past where this was new information. So long story short, I built this business and it took me years to build, and I was going to lose it in 2 weeks. So that was the beginning of my origin story. And at that point, I had to learn how to be a hero. I had to learn how to save my business, and it ended up being me trying to save my own business. It ended up turning into me saving Detroit as a whole from the short-term rental ban, getting the ban pulled, and solidifying our hold with the government, meaning we've created relationships where they're not going to do a ban like that again. So that's really my origin story. Went from almost losing my business to learn due to a bad ban, to learning how to advocate for the industry and stop that completely. And I also grew my business exponentially from that too, because of the connections that I made. Because when you do this stuff for your community, they remember that. It's not something, it was something that I spent money to do, right? But it was not a thankless job. You really, people really support folks who are looking out for them and being a hero to their community. So long story short, that's my origin story. That's how I got to where I am today. And now we've done the same thing in 10 cities and counting. And yes, as of today, we have not had a loss yet. And I'm not the type to say that there could never be a loss, but I'm always very objective with these things. But the fact of the matter is, those are undeniable facts that meaning that this is a great thing for the industry. This means that we have a real out when it comes to these unfair regulations that are banning millions of people worldwide. There's really an easy solution to solve this for the industry and save it.
man, you bring up a bunch of stuff here. I just loaded up 3 questions based off this, but I'm going to start with the first one. So how did you go about stopping the Detroit ban? Like, what was the process in that? Because we're very interested, because we've gone through a few bans. Steve's gone through like 2 or 3 in cities he's operated in. So like, what was that process of how did you stop that ban?
For sure. And you guys are located in Dallas too, right? Don't you guys have properties in Dallas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so let's just say I know a lot about that, and I want to talk to y'all about that too. So hopefully I can help you guys in Dallas as well. But to go back to Detroit, it's the same strategy that we use in all the other cities, and that's the beautiful thing about this. The issues, even though they can be varied, there can be differences in cities. Really, the solution is the same. It's a big awareness issue. And obviously, it's not as simple as just, saying, going to city council meetings and saying, hey, we're great for, we're great actors. We're not, doing the bad things that they say that we're doing en masse. Those are a minority of folks, blah, blah, blah. That's not enough. You have to do it a certain way so that you can achieve the change that you want. So what the strategy that I call this is the 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars of any advocacy effort for short-term rentals is the following. 1, you need a strong short-term rental association. 2, you need a strong connection with an OTA, meaning Airbnb, VRBO, etc. 3, you need a strong connection with the decision makers. And the thing is, establishing those, they go hand in hand. The first thing to establish is the association. And a strong association is not just an association that has a nice website, has, board members, has money in the bank. It's really an association that has the right strategy on how to approach this and is doing the right things to activate the community. Second is the getting the strong association with the OTAs. You use that association to gain that connection, and they actually help you build the association too. So just to give you an example from Detroit, there was no association in Detroit. So I had to start it from scratch, and that's where most people are at. It's very easy to do. Simply, what I did was I went to the Airbnb group for Southeast Michigan. That's like the name of the group that had most of the Detroiter hosts in it. There's groups like this all over the world. Most mid to large size cities have some sort of group for short-term rentals where people congregate. I then let them know, hey, we're going to help you, we're going to fight this ban that they're proposing, and here's what we need you to do. And we gave them tasks to do. So at first, like I said, the ban was going to be over in 2 weeks. So there was a hearing that was coming up. The first thing we wanted people to do is, meet, come to a meeting in person so that we can all talk about this. When I did that the first time, literally 3 people showed up. That's a funny story too. Actually, I didn't know there was a Facebook group at first. I didn't even know about that. So I was messaging people on Airbnb, almost getting my account deleted by saying, hey, spamming people, saying hey, they're about to ban Airbnbs. Look, guys, we need to meet. We need to mobilize. And 3 people showed up. And then somebody told me, oh, well, actually, there's a Facebook group of hosts, and somebody over there set up a meetup to talk about this. So I ended up going to that meetup. And then I told them, hey, look, we need to get people to go and testify at the hearing. That was the first thing just to do. That was the low-hanging fruit and the thing we needed to do the soonest. So we did that. I got people to do that. And then at that, when that happened, people testified, and it was good that happened, but that did not do that much. And I want you guys to know, and everybody out there, you want to do the testifying at the public hearings, but that, I'd say, is 20% of the whole battle. That's not going to do much at all, because you got to understand, when they do these hearings, at that point, that's not where the decisions are being made. The decisions are being made behind closed doors in their private offices. They're being made at the at council meetings that they have privately. They're being made with lobbyists on the golf course, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These things are not being done at the hearing. If you're just doing stuff at the hearing, you're too late. But it is something that is important to just facilitate. So that was the first thing we did. And then going back to how to get that connection with the OTAs, there's what's called a policy team for Airbnb and VRBO. Airbnb, you're mainly going to be dealing with them. They have the biggest policy team. They're usually very easy to find because if there's an issue, they're going to be trying to reach out to the Facebook groups. If you can't find them, call Airbnb and say, hey, I need to get in contact with a policy individual. There's a ban happening. Airbnb customer service can't help you, but they can patch you into who to speak to if you're having an issue. And also, if you reach out to myself, basically the whole policy team knows me now. Like the whole department, it's like I meet at least once a week with one of those folks, and it's so I can always patch you in, and they're an important ally to have. So going back to the association part, we use Airbnb to further build the association, because what they'll do is if you have an event, they will actually blast that event to everybody in that city that's a host. So that's a huge way to, it's like a free email list. So we say, hey, sharing Philadelphia, not sharing Philadelphia. I'm skipping ahead. Sharing Detroit, that's the name that we gave our association. We're having an awareness event. We need you guys to show up so we can tell you guys what to do and keep you guys updated. Airbnb will blast that invite to all of the hosts in the city that have signed up for policy emails. And that's most hosts. So, we were able to get our email list and our membership up to a good 200 folks in short order. And just to give you context, there's about 1,000 hosts in Detroit, probably about 1,200 now. So that's a big chunk of the hosting community. And that's extremely hard to get organically. So to kind of sum it up, connecting with the OTAs and letting them know that you're trying to start an association or grow your association, that's how you get that connection. They'll gladly blast your events to the hosts on their email list, and then that's how you build your email list, and that's how you build your association. And if you're using the right strategy, you can then activate them in certain ways and tell them what to do and how to support you so that you can get the job done. Now, those two things go hand in hand. And then the last pillar, which is the strong connection with the decision makers. That's what I like to call them. The decision makers are anybody who has power to make this rule happen. So usually in the US, it's city council folks in cities. The states usually don't have the power to enforce property rules, at least natively. Like they can kind of do some stuff on the back end, but these decisions are all coming from the cities. So usually it's city council who has the power to enforce, to pass these rules and enforce them. So to get a connection with them, you use those other two pillars. So if you have a strong association, you can then raise funds to hire a lobbyist. And that's really important for mid to large size cities. Then the lobbyist is used to get you in the back rooms with these decision makers and then convince them and have them be on your side, which is actually very easy if you do it the right way. Because the big thing here is a lot of people think that we're the underdog, but we're actually favored to win these things if we do it the right way because city council cares about the underdogs. They get voted in by the underdogs. They're usually voted in on a platform of protecting the underdogs, meaning the marginalized folks, the less fortunate, not the rich folks, big fat cats, big companies. They're really trying to protect the local citizens and small businesses. And that's what the majority of short-term rental owners are. But again, it has to be done the right way because right now, most people think that we are a bunch of out-of-state, big companies that are buying up neighborhoods and throwing party houses and causing disturbances and raising rents for everybody. And all of that stuff is completely false. In the majority of cases, and I'm talking about the vast majority, it's usually 70% local citizens that are just trying to get their mortgages paid, trying to get their kids through college, trying to raise their families, trying to get up the next socioeconomic ladder. And then of those, 70% of those are women entrepreneurs. 40% of those are Black and brown entrepreneurs. And these are all, especially in the US, these are all demographics that the city councils want to protect, but they literally don't understand anything that I've just told you. They have no idea about any of that. They literally think that it is a bunch of out-of-state rich folks buying up neighborhoods, raising rent rates. So
now we start like this takes me back to Arlington. You know, me and Micah went to some of those council meetings in Arlington back in the day, Arlington, Texas, where the Cowboys play and the Rangers and all that. So anyways, we went to those meetings and it was it was a lot of angry old people, you know, saying get this out of our neighborhoods. That's who we're up against. And we thought we put up a good fight because I mean, compared to what's going on in Dallas, anyways, because we filled up half of the place on the left side of the aisle was all us, you know, we're in solidarity, wearing blue shirts together and all this stuff. And we started the Arlington, you know, short-term rental alliance, whatever. We started that, and then you know, we had that piece in place. On the other side of the aisle was all the old angry people, you know, didn't want it in the neighborhoods, right? Led by an ex-mayor, who has a lot of, you know, could pull a lot of strings in the city, right? Because he was mayor for like 20 years. And anyways, the part we couldn't get was was Airbnb to give a damn about it. They didn't. I mean, we reached out to them. This was in 2019 when we got banned. We reached out to them. I think they might have sent a message of encouragement or something. VRBO, on the other hand, they were more supportive, but I mean, they didn't put their hat in the ring either. So we had the first part where we had, you know, we had our meetings, and we would go to that, and we'd go to the city council meetings, and people would speak all the way to like 3 a.m., you know, at those meetings where you let everybody speak, right? And in the end, they still banned it anyways, except for like a 1 mile radius around the stadiums. That's, you know, which is the crack houses. So they still banned it in like 99% of the city, even though we went through all that stuff, which was very discouraging. And now, and I remember telling Micah, we talked about this in the show before, that I was like, dude, Jerry Jones is getting into the hotel industry. He's like, and then I was like, this is not good news for us, man. They're building these giant mega hotels right by the stadiums. I said, our days are probably numbered. And sure enough, soon as those giant hotels got built, that's when they decided to coincidentally ban Airbnb in that city. And so we were going up against powerful people, right? And we were going up against people that had connections and all that stuff. And then they put all the angry old people up front, like they're trying to get us banned by themselves, which I don't think that's what it was. And we didn't have the help of Airbnb. So anyways, a question I want to go back to first is, why the hell do they want to ban it in Detroit? Wasn't Detroit struggling? Don't they want people to come there? Don't they want like tourism? I mean, isn't that good for the city?
So what I've found is, you really don't want to focus too much on the why. I can tell you 100%, everywhere around the world, it is definitely an awareness issue, meaning they're out of touch. The decision makers don't understand Airbnb. They don't understand who operates it. There can also be other tertiary issues or reasons behind the scenes. But I always recommend that folks don't focus too much on why, and focus on the strategy at hand, because as long as you know that the awareness side is a big piece of it, that's really the part to solve. And the fact that you're favored to win because you guys are the underdog, and that's really what city council is supposed to be protecting. And I don't mean like supposed to as like we think that. That's literally, so they care way more about public image, getting votes. I'm telling you, in almost all these cities, that's what keeps them in. It doesn't matter if they got some crazy fat check, they want to be voted back into office. And in the fact that it's a collective, there's always going to be folks that, okay, maybe one person is really with the opposition, but the other folks aren't getting a piece of that. They're not on that side. They're more incentivized by the local folks and the people that are on that operate short-term rentals. But I'll tell you, in Detroit, I mean, we did find out, but I really want to emphasize that it's inconsequential if you're in terms of trying to get the job done. But what we found out was that it was it was the housekeeping unions. So think about it like this. When you do short-term rentals, you 9 times out of 10 are hiring a housekeeper or a housekeeping company to do the cleanings. And then the cleanings, those individuals, they can operate this as their own business, And, they're self-sufficient. And I think, we all know we're all short-term rental hosts ourselves. We provide, at least I would say the great hosts provide a lot of opportunities and a lot of benefits to our housekeeping team, right? Because they're the lifeblood of our business. If the properties aren't cleaned and maintained, we don't have a business, right? So there are tons of housekeeping businesses that are making, great income, and they don't have to do an alternative, which is cleaning for a hotel company, not hotel, but cleaning for a hotel, or cleaning for some other company that maybe does residentials, and they have a large reach, and that's the only way that they can make the income that they would be making just cleaning short-term rentals, or doing that partially. So basically on Capitol Hill, and this is a national union, the housekeeping union. We basically heard that they were telling the representatives and the city council members from different cities, hey, you guys need to push this, and we need to start pushing Airbnbs to get out of here, because housekeeping unions don't get a cut of any of that revenue coming in. So that was specifically for Detroit a big driving force of that, and the person who spearheaded it was a big proponent of unions. Like, unions were very supportive of her. That was where her background was, her base and everything. So that's where we found out that it mainly came from on that end. But see, a lot of people think that it's the hotel industry and things like that. In this case, and this is in a lot of cases actually, the hotel industry actually can get benefits from Airbnb, because specifically in Michigan, I'll stick specifically with Detroit because it can change in different cities. But in Detroit, the hotel industry gets a cut of the taxes paid by Airbnb. So basically, when Airbnb makes more money and pays more taxes, the hotel industry gets a cut of that. So they're benefited by Airbnbs. And there's a lot of events that likely wouldn't have the turnout in terms of the audience, because there wouldn't be enough hotels to fill them up in Detroit. So they need Airbnb in a lot of cases. But see, if you think too much about that, you're not thinking about the main solution, which is still awareness and advocacy, but doing it the right way. So that's what we use to stop that. But yeah, I can tell you that's what was behind that situation. And it can slightly vary city to city. But the beautiful thing is the awareness side is what the big issue is. Because if they knew who you guys were, they wouldn't really be able, they would know they wouldn't have a good chance of winning. It would look horrible. It's like saying something like, hey, we want to do a bill that's gonna hurt restaurants right now, or hurt small business restaurants, or hurt corner stores or things like that. Like these, when people understand that these are neighborhood businesses and not outside entities buying up neighborhoods and doing X, Y, and Z and causing disturbances, they can't rally on that platform. That's why we're so poised to win. And I'd say that's the biggest reason why we haven't lost, is because we've used that to our advantage. And that's really the whole industry worldwide. It's not, this is a young, small, like this is, this industry is made up of the majority small business owners. And those are the people that worldwide cities want to protect the most.
So why is it so important to hire a lobbyist, and where the hell do you find a lobbyist?
For sure. So I'll give you a story. I'll talk about Detroit again. So in Detroit, what we did first, we didn't know that we needed a lobbyist. And, some people were even thinking about, oh, let's do a lawsuit. And I can go into that later. But we were just trying to figure out what to do. And so we were trying everything. So we looked into the lawsuit route. We looked into the lobbyist route. We looked into just us pleading our case in different places. And the thing is, I'll give you one example. First of all of these city council members, it's all of this stuff is politics in general is based on relationships, and you're dealing with an industry where nobody really has great relationships with the city council, or we wouldn't have these issues to begin with, right? This is an industry that's completely grassroots. So the folks that are a part of these industries don't know their city council members. They don't have any connections. They're regular folks, regular local citizens, right? So we tried, going to there would be even the people, the city council members spearheading the bill. they tried to, they asked us to, have a private audience with them. Even when we just started the association early on, it's like, oh, we'd love to, talk to you. And yeah, we talked to them, and, they sounded very, very understanding, and they talked a really good game. Guess what? That changed absolutely nothing. We went to different meetings that city council members individually had. So they'll have a coffee and conversation in the community. They'll have these little community events. You go there and you speak to them, and they could be interested too. But again, it doesn't hit home. It doesn't. It's literally not about what you're saying. I think everybody understands generally that this is a good industry if you're in it, right? That this is a helpful industry and that we're not, threatening people. But the issue is how to convince that to others. It's like going to a court case and saying, oh, I'll represent myself instead of hiring an attorney. It's always recommended to do that because the attorney knows the law, first of all, and your lobbyist will know the politics. They'll understand the law of how the things work in the city. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then also lawyers have connections. They might know the judge. They might know this person. They might, they know this and that. Same thing with the lobbyists. So it's the same reason why you wouldn't try and defend yourself in court if there was a severe issue. You could have all the best intentions, but it's not going to go over correctly at all. And I'd say that's the biggest reason why most cities fail, is because they don't do this part right. And so going back to Detroit, we failed on all the other things. And when we got to the lobbyist part, there was somebody knew that kind of wanted to throw their hat in the ring and kind of do it a little pro bono, but then they got caught up in something, so they couldn't do anything. So we realized, okay, we're going to need to pay for this lobbyist, and we're just need to put our money where our mouth is. So we called the clerk's office at the city and asked for basically a list of consultants. Because what people don't understand is a lot of consultants, they work in the city hall. They work right next to all the politicians. They're in meetings with these folks. They're really a part of the system. So you can call your city clerk and get a list of consultants that deal with do they deal with real estate related matters? Do they you can even go into that. You can search political consultant on Google, literally doing a Google search. That's where we found our political consultants in Philadelphia. I'm consulting with them, and we found our lobbyists in Philadelphia by doing that. And then we talked to them about the issue, and the real determination to finding a good lobbyist is just talking to them about your issue and seeing if they resonate with it. If they're nodding their head and they're like, oh yeah, oh man, okay, yeah, I get this. Yeah, this is a shame. We have to stop this. Then you have a good lobbyist. And if you look them up online or got them from a clerk, then they're going to have those connections. You want to ask them about the connections they have. You should be bringing up the council members and stuff, and they should be able to tell you how they're connected to these council members. It's really as simple as that. It's actually not that hard to find them. They just need to resonate, most importantly, with your cause, so that they're fighting for you, and then talk about how they have their connections with these individuals. So I'll stop there just to see if you have any other questions about that. But
just one more big question: how much does a lobbyist cost?
For sure. So lobbyists tend to cost between $4,000 and $6,000 a month.
Ooh, I want to be a lobbyist.
Hey. I'll put it like this: being a lawyer and doing a lawsuit would make you more money. Lawyers cost usually double that. You're usually paying about $10,000 a month for a lawyer for a lawsuit for a short-term rental.
Yeah, but I don't want to study.
Right, I hear you. Well, you know what? Okay, yeah, it might be a little easier, but see, here's the thing about these consultants and why they're so powerful. It's not just that they have this knowledge of how the government works. These folks went to school with these people. I'm talking about elementary school, middle school, high school. Some of these folks go to their church. They know their grandma, their family friends. These are folks who have such deep connections with the city that they can get paid for it. It's not even stuff that you can really learn or that you can maneuver. These folks, that's why they're so powerful, because that is the way that you properly open the door so that they actually listen to the industry. you need to get somebody who's like their family friend, they went to school with them. It's like, hey, and they've worked on. I'm telling you, that's how politics works, and that's why that's so powerful, and that's why, like a lawsuit, lawsuits might work well for other industries, some other industries, but this is a young industry. This is an industry, like it's really about making sure that people like you. It's not about, and I don't mean like you, but I'm saying like they need to understand you and be like amicable to your cause. Because the reason why they're doing this stuff worldwide is because they have a bad impression of short-term rentals. No lawsuit is going to solve that. And the thing about lawsuits is, we'll wait on that. I won't go too deep. I don't want us to get veered off course, but lawsuits, you're playing their game at that point. Like governments deal with lawsuits for breakfast. They have a just to give you an example, the city of Philadelphia has a $400 million budget. If you think that you can beat them in a lawsuit with where they have a $400 million budget and they eat this stuff for breakfast, you've got another thing coming. That's why literally in a mid to large size city, 0% effective. No lawsuit has ever been effective for short-term rental bans. No permanent change has been made from a lawsuit for short-term rental bans in at least a mid to large size city. So yeah, but anyways, let's go back to the consultant part. Oh, people got their notebooks handy, man. Y'all gonna have to rewind. Like it's a lot of it's a lot of info. I'm talking about the audience out there. I know this is a lot. So and you guys feel free to slow me down if I'm going too fast.
No, you're good. So basically, you need to create the relationship with like an Airbnb or a VRBO and then go in degrees in a few pockets of lobbyists. So, okay. Now, I mean, that's really what he said. I mean,
hey, you're greasing pockets either way. It's all greasing pockets, isn't it?
I'm happy you
if
brought
you do a
that
lawsuit, you're greasing pockets. If they were totally cool and like did what they were supposed to do with regulations, what they had the perfect regulation. That means you're gonna have to pay for a license. You're gonna have to pay some taxes. It's always greasing pockets. So yes.
So
that's a big part of it.
I'm happy you brought up the OTA part because I was about to mess it all up because I told all the people in Dallas just go in there and tell them it's Airbnb's fault and then we can all continue to operate. So, but we need to use the OTA to get the awareness out. So, okay. My next question is, because you stopped them in, like, I think you said 7 cities, right? Now, this is one thing that always comes up.
Is it 10? 10? I'm sorry.
Correct. No, you're good.
Yeah, my bad. So this is one thing that always comes up. The banter back and forth between the people who are pro-STR and anti-STR. The pro-STR people get into it with other pro-STR people saying it's the red, it's the blue, right? So in the cities that you've stopped the bans in, are they majority red or are they majority blue? Or you haven't really seen a difference?
I haven't seen a difference, but it's a mix. It's more, I would say it's more blue, but no, it's a mix. Because this is the thing. Think about it like this. I mean, you're talking about how people go back and forth and red states, they probably used to say that, oh, red states, so you don't have to worry about regulations there. It's those blue states that you have to worry about it. Am I right? That was kind of because red states, people say that they're for, quote unquote property rights and things like that. So it's not a situation there. But guess what? Dallas is, say it again.
I said bullshit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, look at what's happening right now. Dallas, which is that would be the number one poster child for a red part of the city in Texas. I mean, we understood Austin not wanting to, Austin having some tough restrictions, but Dallas.
Yeah, it's blue.
Would anybody have guessed Dallas having tough restrictions?
Yeah, it's turned blue though.
Oh, I mean, literally, like the voters have turned blue. Oh, I actually didn't know that. Well, but here's the thing, and it's a red state overall. I mean, hey, at least that helps. But yeah, that's the thing. It's the whole situation is, if they want to shut you down, they will find a way. It does not matter about property right claims, et cetera, et cetera. That's why this is all an awareness game. They don't understand that you guys are not their enemy. You see what I'm saying? And that's a worldwide issue. So red states are not immune, has been proven by Texas, and other states. Blue states are definitely not immune either. This is an awareness thing. This goes across party lines. That's the issue. It's just a fundamental misunderstanding about the industry, and nobody's doing enough to change that. except for us. That's what we're looking to change worldwide.
And I noticed you said awareness, and I'm happy you brought that word up, because every time that I've seen it, like whenever you walk into these city council meetings, I had the last one, I was in the Dallas one, and I had posted it on Instagram of the people that were for it and the people that were against it. And this girl, fan of the show, hit me up and said, dear holy mother of old white people, so have you noticed have you noticed it's usually, because I've always said it seems to be old versus young, and that's why the awareness things comes in, because if you look at the age of the city council, it's usually older. Because I met with one of the city councils of Dallas, and he was a kind of younger guy. He was probably in his early 40s, but he told me and my wife, he goes, honestly, if y'all really want to start getting stuff like this passed, he said somebody at your age has to start running for city council. So have you seen it's like maybe like an age thing that's involved as well?
So that's definitely a big piece of it. The best way to look at it is the unfamiliar versus the familiar. And as with most new technology, it's adopted by younger folks before it permeates to the older folks. And this is the same with Uber, the same with Facebook, social media, all of it, smartphones. And the biggest thing is that new industries usually come up quickly and governments act slowly. So yes, it's older folks, but I would just look at it like this. Governments in general are always going to have a bad or a unclear perception of new technologies and new industries. What's happening with Airbnb and short-term rentals is not new. It's just every single industry has its own way of solving the issue if they're able to solve the issue. So Uber and Lyft had the same issues. Social media right now is having the same issues. Now they're starting to enact laws and really focus on the effect that social media has on the population, right? So government, there's always this, they call it almost like a pendulum, where there's a period of time where if it's left unchecked, the government will be extremely harsh on an industry. And then after a number of years, it swings the other way when they finally get that understanding. That's what happens if things go unchecked. But here's the thing, if that was the case, like a lot of industries have been wiped out or have been crippled because of that. So Uber and Lyft was successful in defeating bad regulations. And that's why they're, the household name. If it was something where Uber and Lyft was really banned in a lot of cities like they were trying to do, Uber and Lyft wouldn't have the market share that it has. So it's not just short-term rentals that's having this issue. But every industry has its own way of solving the problem. So short-term rentals, we've identified the way to solve the problem. We just need to bring this worldwide and get this done.
Now, okay. So when all this stuff was going on and Airbnb did a thing, they went public. They got all infused with billions of dollars, right? So now, and which literally made them, on paper, bigger than all the top 5 hotel chains in the world combined, value-wise and money-wise. Are they pouring money into these big cities to pay for lobbyists to help fight the fight and keep it going?
For sure. So I'll tell you, and I think what I'm going to do also, I owe it to you guys to give you a full start to finish on how to stop a ban, because a lot of that will answer the questions that you have now. But I'm glad that we're talking about this too, because this allows us to go into the details of things that you guys are wondering about, and I know tons of people wonder about as well. So with what you're saying, with Airbnb specifically, they are doing a lot to stop this on their end, but the issue is they can't stop it on their end. They're weak in this case. They're strong on the business side, but they're weak on the policy side. And the reason why is because of how this works with properties. And this is actually a good comparison. So think about it like this. So Uber and Lyft, I think we all heard about the issues that they had in the beginning, where there was regulation that was being proposed and taxis were lobbying against them and all that stuff, right? And the way we probably all saw that was, okay, Uber and Lyft poured a ton of money into lobbyists and they started talking to the folks and they kind of worked things out, right? Right. So that's generally what they did. They did do some other stuff similar to what Airbnb tries to do, where they get the community to, send the email to their city council person or whatever. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but like Airbnb has something where it's like a little form and you just literally put in your name and it has a pre-written letter and then you just hit send and it's supposed to go to a city council person. That's something that can be good, but it's not at all, again, it's probably 10% helpful, but it doesn't hurt. But Uber and Lyft were able to do that and basically get this stuff finished. But that's dealing with cars. Dealing with property is an entirely different ball game. Cars are something that can be kind of handled on a large corporate multinational level, right? Because cars aren't related to any location. They're cars. They go to different places. They're mobile by nature, right? Property is, you should think about it like this. Property is the lifeblood of cities. Like property taxes, homeowners who are voters, like property is such a big deal in a city. That stuff is the power is in the city and the citizens of the city to really make changes there. So when Airbnb tries to, lobby and advocate to keep them in play, the cities don't care. They see them as the big corporation that's like, trying to influence their local city and their properties. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's
the big difference here. And that's why Airbnb isn't able to stop this on their own. They're very weak when it comes to policy, and it's not their fault. That's just, they don't have the power to stop this. The power is in the people's hands, which is a really good thing, because guess what? That means that it's in y'all's hands, but it has to be done the right way. That's the big difference there. So yeah, Airbnb and all the cities that we've done stuff in the cities where they banned it, Airbnb's paid for lobbyists, got the best lobbyists, did what they could do, but it's very ineffective. You have to have the people doing the work there for it to make a difference, because it's dealing with property, completely different from cars and other stuff in other industries. That's what makes it so different. So I should go kind of from start to finish, so you guys see how this fully plays out. So I know I had first talked about how in the beginning we started the association. We got Airbnb to promote it and promote events so that we get members into the association. And then what we did, and I'm gonna fast forward past all the stuff we tried. I'm gonna tell you what worked, so that you guys understand what to do. So then what we did is we had these events. Also, Airbnb will participate in these events as well. So once we had one large event where Airbnb flew in, two of the folks came and participated, and we did a fundraiser, and we told them our strategy, which is basically what I've told you, the 3 pillars, where we have a connection with Airbnb, we have a connection, we have a strong association, and we need to connect with city council through lobbyists, and we're going to get the decision makers to listen. And so we had that event, and it was a fundraiser so we could raise money to pay for these lobbyists, and we were able to raise the money that way. And then when we so we paid the lobbyists, and when we got into our first meetings, this is how we did the meetings so that the decision makers would listen. I'll start with one person from a district, and I'll keep the names out of things just to kind of, because these are people that I have on speed dial now. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. These are behind the scenes conversations. But basically, so we got somebody from District 4. We got a one-on-one audience with the city council member in District 4 of Detroit. So what we did is we brought a citizen from District 4 who is somebody that they care about. So the person in District 4 really cared about small business owners and women's rights. So we got a woman who is a short-term rental business owner that would be badly affected by this bill. And we did almost none of the talking. We literally just let them explain their story, why short-term rentals are good for them and their family, why it's good for their community, and what would happen to their family if short-term rentals were banned. And that's literally all that they said. They just explained that, and the city council member, and we got a couple of folks. There was 2 folks that fit that bill, and that city council member really resonated with that. We literally rinsed and repeated. We did the same thing for the next council member. Whatever they cared about, we brought that person in who matches their profile, and we let them speak. And we did that to most of the city council members. We didn't have to do it to all of them. But that was what made the big changes there. It was the behind the scenes conversations that allowed them to actually listen. Because I know it sounds weird, and people always, before they see the results, they always ask me, wow, is this really what makes it so effective? Like, it doesn't seem like that's that big of a deal. It's literally the difference between it going in one ear and out the other and them actually caring. They do not care about you guys until you guys do it that way. And that's just how it goes. There's really no way to explain it better than that. I think the only way you could really understand it is if maybe you were a city council person and you were in their shoes. And if you think about it, right, they're a city council person who's getting emails, calls, hundreds every day. They have a whole staff that handles their calls, right? There's tons of people talking about issues like, hey, this is hurting me. This is that. Stop this, stop that. They have to clear through the noise and like through in some fashion. So if there is somebody who they went to school with, they went to high school with, that they are in meetings with all the time, AKA the lobbyists, saying, hey, you need to speak to these folks at Sharing Detroit. There's really a big issue happening with this bill. I think it's going to affect your base. This is going to affect your voters. This is going to affect what's going on here. Let's have a one-on-one meeting. Okay, so that now they're not looking at their thousands of emails, thousands of phone calls that they're getting all the time that go in one ear and out the other, and they're talking to somebody that they know and respect, going into a private meeting with an organization that has paid for a lobbyist, so you know that they must be representing a large base just by that alone. And then you see somebody who is exactly the person that you based your platform on, speaking about how this is such an issue. Those are the types of entities that they listen to. They don't have time to listen to anybody else. Does that make sense? They're constantly getting inundated with calls, messages. Hey, this is bad. This is bad. That's how you actually get them to listen. That's what makes it so impactful. But see, it's not easy to see that on the other side. We think it's affecting us. And so why don't they listen to me when I'm at a council meeting? They don't care. You should think of council meetings as like theater. It's like a show. By the time it goes there, they got this stone face. They're just sitting there. They're going through the motions. They're thinking about what to eat later on tonight. If you're just at the council meetings, it's too late. Like they've already been making their decisions behind closed doors. The council meetings are just, I hate to say it in a bad way, but it's for show. It's so they can say they publicly brought this to light and they by law gave the public, what's the word? They gave the public a platform to speak about it. So
now, even if you hired Alex Stein to go up there and rap about Vladimir Putin must die, it still wouldn't help.
See, I got to catch up on my current events. I mean, I know about obviously the war in Ukraine, but who's Alex Stein? And okay, man, now I got to just Google this. I'm gonna have to YouTube this.
Yeah, we'll send it to you, man. It went viral. It was a few months ago. Remember, Michael's the one that sent it to me. It's some guy rapping in front of the city council, and he rapped for a good 5 minutes, and they didn't stop him. So I don't know. Anyways, it went viral. Perhaps maybe one of us can rap, do an Airbnb rap, and then we'll go viral. I don't know. But
yeah.
It don't help anyways.
Never say never. Okay. In general, any publicity is good publicity. So it definitely doesn't hurt. That's all I got to say. At least it might just get you some more fundraising dollars to really keep that lobbyist going. But yeah. But so to kind of wrap up the strategy. So when we got that final pillar in place, it went from a literally unanimous decision to move this bill forward to get passed to then there being conversations behind closed doors. City council members have meetings on their own, and the people that we talk to, it's spread. It's like poisoning the well or whatever. I hate to say it like that. Let's say it's an antidote to the well, because once people start getting doubts, then they start telling the other council members. And then now that they realize that there's another side to this, and there's a constituency that's actually represented, they're like, oh wait, this isn't a slam dunk like I thought it was. This is actually not good. This might be hurting the people that I care about. So then it started becoming mixed. And then once they went to that vote, and again, so I remember I said it was 2 weeks. thankfully, when we did that first meeting, we were able to get it delayed for about, it was like 2 months. Then that gave us some time to do what we're doing right now. But basically, once it got to that final vote, they pulled the ban because the city council members were not going to vote for it. And the person who spearheaded the bill, rather than actually lose face by actually bringing it to vote and losing, they were like, oh, okay, nope, I'm pulling out. Nope, we're not gonna do it. So that's how the ban got pulled. Again, all of this stuff happens behind closed doors. And the only way to get that door open is through the relationship with the lobbyists and the city council members and the association. It's really that simple. So that's the pillar that really gets the job done. But the other two pillars is what allows you to actually get that lobbyist and have the other stuff that you need to move forward.
That is crazy. So the cleaners unions didn't come after you after that happened?
Hey, I might have got some hate mail. I don't know. So still standing so far, That's
good,
but
man.
Yeah.
So okay, that's one way you were able to prevent, bad regulations to go through or whatever.
Mhm.
Is it once they're in, is it damn near impossible to get them overturned?
So the great answer to that is no. And that's actually referenced by what we're doing in Philadelphia. So the thing that was technically untested was how do we get a bill that's already in law removed? And we're successfully doing that in Philadelphia. And the great news is that it is the same strategy as preventing that bill from getting passed. It's just more steps, but it's the same strategy. So it's literally the same 3 pillars, but what then has to happen is the work has to be done to get that ban unwound. So that just adds extra steps on the policy side. But like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. If you get city council on your side, and again, you don't need the majority of them on your side. You just need a number of folks where it's like it's no longer unanimous. It's really not that difficult. Once you do that, then you have the power to get this changed and removed. So in Philadelphia, the same thing happened as what we're doing in Detroit. But what we ended up doing is, because the bill got passed, but it hadn't been enforced yet, our goal was to delay that enforcement as much as possible. And so first it was delayed by like 2 months, and then it got delayed by, I want to say it was 1 more month, something like that. But the big turning point was when we got the ban delayed by more than 6 months. So it was supposed to go into effect in April of 2022. It got pushed to July of 2022. And then through our advocacy efforts, we knew we really struck a chord when they then delayed it all the way to 2023, January of 2023. So, and there, again, it's the same reasons why they did that. It's because we got the decision makers to listen to us, and they realized that this was actually a mistake. And they even said themselves, if we knew about you guys, or if you guys had started this association before we passed the bill, this bill wouldn't have even been passed.
Oh, wow.
So now we're doing the work to get the bill unwound, and we're going through that process.
That's cool, dude. Yeah, we heard everybody freaking out about Philadelphia, and that's awesome that you got them to at least delay it for 6 months. I don't know if that happens to fall on some dates when voting happens, or is there anything to the 6 months, or what's going on there?
I mean, the 6 months was, so we'll go with the date. The date is January 2023, January 3rd.
And what type of ban is it? Full ban?
Oh, it's like a full-on ban. It's zoning related, but it would ban between 70 and 90% of short-term rentals by zoning. So you can only do it, and basically you have to be zoned as a hotel to be able to operate a short-term rental. That's basically how it reads, and that's only that's really 10% of the housing stock. So yeah.
And real quick, who was behind that one? Can you say?
I can say, but again, I do want to stress it doesn't matter so much. The awareness is the biggest thing, because no matter what, that wouldn't have gotten passed if we had made that awareness sooner. But you know,
nobody
knew about it. They didn't call on me. They, you know,
we want the dirt.
But we believe that it's partly a developer that's big in the city that doesn't like short-term rentals in their properties. There's a developer that's a city council member, has like probably 100 million, I think, in real estate, something like that. They're like one of the biggest real estate private owners. That's one person that's like, you know, piling into this. But again, when people think about it like that, they're really looking at, oh man, like it'd be a difference if it mattered, but it really still doesn't matter, because even they don't have the power to really get city council to change this. Because if they knew what the industry really was, no city council member is going to try and go against that and look like they're going against the little guy, going against the people that they protect. They're not going to get voted in again. They're going to be looked at as like a pariah. Like it is just, you know, and God forbid they get caught taking some bribes or some funding and stuff like that. It's over for them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this is not the boogeyman. That's really not what people should be worried about. It's the awareness side. The reason why they're doing this is because they don't understand the industry. They think that it's a bunch of party houses. They think that it's affecting affordable housing in a big way. And again, all of this has been disproven. In most cities, if it affects affordable housing, it's to a very, very small degree. That absolutely is outweighed by the jobs that it creates and the things that are happening, you know, for the business itself. So long story short, it's an awareness thing, which is a beautiful thing, because the real thing here is that means that that we don't have as many enemies as we think we have, and they're not as powerful as we think they really are.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm happy. And then that goes back to having that strong STR association, showing them, hey, we're just some little guys trying to make it. So like, you know, in Philly, like, because if they have you said they have a $400 million budget for a lawsuit, and then you back that with
so that's their government budget in general. It's not for one lawsuit, but I'm saying, yeah, that's their total budget. But I mean, come on, a slice of that is even a sliver of that is way more than what hosts are probably willing to put up, right?
Plus, you got another $100 million developer dude over here. Now, I mean. So, okay, this is what happened in Dallas, right? Dallas did a pushback. They're like, hey, well, it's going to take this amount of time for us to figure out regulations. 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, well, we came up with 3 plans, right? So those 6 months, and I want you to kind of be honest with, you know, are those good? Is that good 6 months or bad 6 months for operators, right? Like the lobby, I mean, not the lobbyists, but the city council isn't back there during those 6 months taking track of who's paying taxes or who's operating and then making their decision off that, or they just, what do those 6 months for the council look like? What's your lobbyist doing in that time?
For Philly, right?
Yeah, for Philly, just any, yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. The lobbyists have been working. STR Heroes have been working, like Sharing Philadelphia. Like we've all been doing stuff behind the scenes. The main thing that's happening now is, and this is at behest of, you know, the decision makers, which are on our side. They're like, hey, you know, you guys, to basically to bring this home, you guys need to keep this in the public eye. You guys need to, you know, basically rally the troops, make sure that this is still an issue for when this gets brought back up again. Meaning, so, you know, this is the summertime. Council goes on recess in Philadelphia around this time, and they're getting back in session in September. So we've been using this time to have another event with Airbnb as well, letting everybody know about what's going on. So rallying the troops, raising funds, to basically get the last leg of this thing done. And what we've also done is put out a press release, which again, the consultants helped us with. They have connections to all the news sources. So we got a big old list of, like, I'm talking like 100 emails of like, just, okay, send the press release to these folks so that we can get a news article out. So that's what we've been doing. And it's basically been to keep this in the public eye. So when they come back in September and we resume our meetings with the decision makers, we then can move forward with getting the bill undone. So the issue with a bill being already in place is that the extra step is that you just have to make sure that the appetite is there, remains there for city council to finish the job. And to do that, you just have to make sure that you spread the word, which is actually, that's the easy thing to do. That's what, you know, you guys were talking about how you had half the room was hosts. You know, it's easy to spread the word. And that's the same thing with the other cities we've worked in. Like, yeah, getting people to show up to council meetings isn't a hard thing. That's just not the most effective thing, right? But now that's literally all we have left to do is just make sure that people are still contacting their council members about this and hooting and hollering. And not hollering in a bad way, but I'm saying, like, you know, saying, hey, you know, this is really helpful for me, the short-term rental industry. This is going to affect my family, specifically things like that. So that's literally the last thing that we have to do. And then they're just going to be, you know, moving forward and making the changes on their end.
Now is your goal, you know, to get, you know, Airbnb 100% legal in a city, no regulations, or is your goal for good regulations? Are there good regulations? What are y'all shooting for?
Damn good question. I love that.
Oh, for sure. Great question. So first of all, our stance worldwide is that we think regulations are necessary. It's the next evolution of the industry. That's good regulations will keep bad actors out. Bad regulations throw the baby out with the bathwater and restricts the industry, like, to the point where it will really dismantle it. So what we normally do is we really push for regulation, but regulation that gives access to everyone. So everybody has the access to do it, but if they make certain transgressions, or if they, you know, that's really the main thing. If they make certain transgressions, then you lose the ability to have their license. And that's what we've seen in almost all the cities that we've had success in. That's basically what ends up happening. For instance, with Detroit, you know, we got the ban pulled completely, and really, so what we're looking to do now, we would really like to have something a little more robust in place, because right now there's no regulations in Detroit. They just pulled it, and it's been tabled. It's done. It's not coming back. It is done, and they haven't brought up any. They haven't put any regulations in place. But that's usually how these things go. When you're successful, it usually is like 100% victory. It's not where you have a half measure, even if you negotiate on half measures. So in Detroit, we had negotiations where it's like, hey, you know, well, we like it to be like this. And then what we like to do is present like a 3-strike rule. Hey, here's a 3-strike rule. If, like, the fire marshal gets called out 3 times to this property, then yeah, they get their license revoked, because they're clearly causing a huge disturbance and they're not learning from their mistakes. But then they came back with, oh, well, no, we don't want to do that, but let's do where everybody, 1 second, I'm trying to remember, like, because it really doesn't matter anymore. That's kind of the point that I'm really trying to make here. They came back with, well, what we like to do is let's have it where it's everybody can operate 1 unit that's their primary resident plus 1. Meaning you can only have 2 units ever, which is still horrible, right? That's, and again, in the negotiation side of things, what that means is you negotiate with the person who spearheaded the bill. So this is the person that's most against it. You're not negotiating with the rest of the city. You're negotiating with the person who spearheaded the bill. So that's what they brought back. And it was like, well, no, that doesn't sound too good. And then it got to that vote, and city council was not in agreement either. So it got pulled completely. So you actually have a very good shot at just getting a 100% victory. Let's put it like this. You'll get a victory, but in that victory, it's not where you're going to have some people not able to host. What usually happens is it's wide open, and you have everybody, you know, getting a license maybe. And then later on, discussions can be had on how to, you know, help keep out the bad actors more. I'll give you one example too. This is in Columbus, Ohio. And so Columbus, Ohio is the one city where they did what we did in Detroit on their own. That's the only city worldwide that stumbled upon the same strategy. And I want to give a shout out to Ben Vale. He's part of our team. He's in our mastermind. And so it was literally the same thing. The same thing I'm telling you is what he did, and he was 100% successful in Columbus. And they were even proposing some things. Oh, well, let's do this. And it's like, okay, well, we'd rather have this. No, complete victory. All you got to do is apply to get a license and you get one. And then about 3 years later, what the city council brought back was, hey, we want to put something in to keep out bad actors. And they, along with the association there, brought in play the 3-strike rule, which I think is a good thing. And it's literally what I just told you, where it is if like the fire marshal, like something like it's not just like a neighbor complaint. I'm talking like you got to have real city officials coming to your house because of a bad issue. If that happens 3 times, then you lose your license. So that's where they're at right now. And we think that's a really great example of where everybody could be. It's that to me, that's a really good, at least a good start, but that's helpful. That's healthy, you know?
Do you think the economics of a city has anything to do with it? Like, I know Columbus is like a huge college town, right? So they need housing, right? So like in me and Steve's situation, we're in Arlington. Jerry's here, he can pull a few strings, and now there's a bunch of hotels getting thrown up. And then if you look at like Detroit, like I just got back from Detroit and looked pretty abandoned, you know. I was like, dang, city's pretty abandoned, and you know, it's got a.
Were you downtown?
Yeah, I was just up there like 2 weeks ago. And
downtown Detroit.
No, I was in North End. And then I did.
No, North End's good, but no, North End is North End just looks abandoned. I mean, yes, you are correct. There's a lot of abandoned areas.
So the reason
you gotta get to downtown, man.
I was downtown. I went to Ford Field, all that. But
okay, all right, cool. I was just making sure. Yes, no, I know what you're saying though. Yeah.
I walked
still a lot of vacant homes in Detroit.
Yeah, I was very now the city. I felt cool in the city. You know, I went to the dispensary. They're playing OJ the Juice Man. I'm like, oh, this is my type of hood shit. But overall,
oh man, yeah,
I was like,
that sounds like the neighborhoods. Yeah.
But overall, I was like, maybe Detroit was like, well, hell, they got this huge advocacy and they're trying to bring people to the city. Maybe they're like, hey, this is what the city needs. Have you seen like different like economics playing a role in the city council's decision or no?
Not so much, because like, just to give you an example, like some of the cities where we've had success is Charlotte, North Carolina, which is very different from Detroit. Chicago, Illinois, which is obviously extremely different from Detroit. We had success there. They had done regulations way before we were ever asked to consult for them. What we did is, so their regulations weren't horrible. And what we did is we reestablished the connection between Airbnb and the association and the city government and the association. And now if somebody has an issue where they actually can't get licensed, there's actually things where the association can pull some strings and actually get some people licensed. Again, this is not like a silver bullet, but again, it's that advocacy side, making those relationships that really does a world of difference. And so just to give you kind of an example of like where we've been, this place is completely different from Detroit in that sense. The long story short is no, there's many benefits to short-term rentals, right?
Yeah.
There's probably, so even with Dallas, there's probably tons of economic benefits you can think of with short-term rentals. And remember, so the thing about this is it's really not about the money in that sense. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's about what really makes the difference is, again, showing that the people that are being banned by this are the people they want to protect. And in every city basically in the world, it's the same thing, because in every city basically in the world, it is majority local small businesses that are being affected, period. So no is my short answer. And the reasoning is basically that. And just to give you an example as well, a lot of people try and lead with the data and they try and lead with the dollars and like, oh, you're bringing in so many tax dollars. Why do you want to shut this off? They don't care. It's not about that. They will literally, this is not a logic battle. It is a emotions battle. It's an awareness. When I say awareness, you're making them aware about the impact that will emotionally affect them. Meaning, oh, this is taking out businesses and folks that I'm supposed to be protecting. And that's what happens first. All of the numbers and stuff, it's secondary. And so, and again, with all being very business minded, coming into this as a short-term rental, business owner, it's like another language, right? It makes no sense. You're like, well, wait, the dollars and cents don't make sense here. Why are you shutting this off? That's not how they think. They're thinking purely on emotion. That's why they're banning you guys, is because of emotion. All they're hearing is the cries of people saying, hey, there's a party here, there's this, there's that. They're not hearing from the 90% of great hosts that are going to be hurt by this. You see what I mean? And they're not hearing about you guys in the right way, in the right channels. So that's really what's affecting it. And so I always say to people, it's like when people start doing advocacy with me, it's like, I start talking like, I'd be like, here, this is the Yoda quote. You have to unlearn what you have learned, because basically everything you probably think about advocacy and like why people are getting banned it's incorrect. But it's a good thing, because if it was what we thought, we'd be in a lot of trouble, but it's not, so that's a good thing.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So is this like your full-time gig now, going around and saving cities from bans?
It better be, man. These suits ain't cheap, man. I mean, come on. Yeah. So I still have a short-term rental brand, but I have a great team that's been doing most of everything for me. So, and it's really been my mission to literally save the short-term rental industry, because the world needs it. The short-term rental industry worldwide needs this. The same issues are happening worldwide, and somebody's got to do it. So we have a goal to be working with 50 cities by the end of the year, and we're to do that, it requires almost all of my time, on the business side of things. So yes, this is the full-time thing. This is the mission. That's our goal. We want to save the industry.
So go ahead. Well, go ahead.
I hope you're getting paid well for your efforts, man.
Hey, I started off for free, saving my own business. After that, hey, look. Unfortunately, folks, let's put it like this. Yes, we cannot do this for free, and we don't do this for free. I will also say this too. We understand that we're helping grassroots organizations. Like, we're helping in a way people to an extent who are less fortunate. This industry is somewhat less fortunate because there's a lot of folks that don't have a lot of coin to rub together. They've invested their time and their money into their business, and now they're on the back foot, and they're about to get banned. So we've been lucky to work with sponsors who have helped us also fund these things. But yeah, this is completely grassroots, and happy to be able to support myself while helping the industry. But we try to help out as much as possible, and sponsors help us do that too. And folks like you guys out there, if you guys want to donate, please do. I'm going to give you guys the link to Sharing Philadelphia. I wanted to go to a specific place at this time, so that's what we're immediately looking to raise money for right now. We raise money for a lot of organizations, but every dollar helps. So everybody out there, if you're one of us, support us in this industry, because it's when. This will be happening in your neck of the woods, and you want to be helped as well.
I had a question for you. You said about your mastermind, because I think I've seen Ben Vale on Facebook. So how would one join your mastermind? Is your mastermind all about getting people from different cities to create advocacy groups, or how does that work?
For sure. So literally what we call it is the STR Justice League. And that's literally how you want to think about it. We are all for one and one for all. That means that we help each other with individual fights, meaning, so for instance, Philadelphia, when they have an issue, like they're in the mastermind, we talk about it, we work it out with them, and they get that stuff done. But then they also help other folks in the mastermind with their issues. And so we are perfect for folks who, first of all, you need to be dedicated. You need to be serious about this, because we don't just take on anybody that's just kind of half in or for lack of a better term, half-assing it, because this is serious. This is, you're protecting at least thousands of business owners And if not, and really at most, you're protecting millions of people's property rights if you're taking this on. So we want people who are serious about this, invested in the industry, really want to see change, and we help them solve their problems. So that's how we've been able to have all the successes we've had, is working in these masterminds to solve these issues. And we've been completely successful so far. So it's not for everybody. It's really for folks who want to either be a part of an association or start an association, and they want to solve their regulation issue. They want to, keep their businesses going from a ban, or they want to prevent something like that from ever even happening. So, we're the vitamin, or let's play this. We're like the penicillin or the medicine, but then we're also the vitamin. We're the medicine if you're having an issue right now, but then we're also the vitamin if you want to stay strong or be strong, so that when the government tries to propose a ban, you're prepared, or you already have the relationship with the government because of us, and they never even try and propose a ban. They actually reach out to you and say, hey, we want to do some regulations, but let's make them fair regulations that are actually good for the industry. So that's who we're for. And if you're interested, we do this on an interview basis. So we'll have a 15-minute call, and I actually personally handle those. So I'll ask you questions to see if you're a good fit. And if we find you're a good fit, we'll tell you about the options and all of that stuff, and tell you what you need to move forward.
Man,
Cool.
Want to be a STR hero? Hit up Theron.
Exactly. See, it's not the STR hero, it's STR hero.
Oh.
Everybody who works with us is a hero. It's really what it is.
Now we got a question from a fan. We'll just call her Julie G. All right. And she says, have you been stuck in that suit since Austin? And is that zipper a little bit tricky to work?
So I'll answer the first part of that. I may or may not have been showering in this suit and working out in this suit. No, I'm totally kidding. Thankfully I have not. I've been able to get out of the suit. I have my alter ego. I gotta meet with people. I gotta, have regular conversations, right? So I'm able to put on my alter ego and my regular, shirt and jeans and all that stuff, Clark Kent style. But the zipper, it's funny. So I have to shout out Julie George, and she is like. She's like my big sister. I'm telling you, she's fantastic, and I really appreciate her. She actually, first of all, I have to give her the credit for the spark of this, because she, in our clubhouse calls, she was always talking about how, and this just came, out of nowhere. She was like, by the way, it sounds like what you're doing, you're saving the industry. You're the superhero of the STR industry. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, all right, that sounds interesting. And then it just became this running joke where she was like, okay, one of these days you're gonna have to have a superhero outfit, and you have to have on the tights. So you better be doing your leg day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never skipping leg day. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Yeah, it's the funniest thing. So all the OG listeners to the clubhouse probably remembers this, because we brought it up at least a couple times a month. And all of a sudden we just started doing some market research and testing things, and that's really what people felt like. They felt, hey, what you're doing, I feel like you're a hero to the industry, and we really needed to make this something that is bright and brings attention to the subject, because this is the most important issue in the industry, right? No matter how much we learn, no matter how great we are at our business, if the government bans us, we're done. No matter how good we are. So solving this is the most important thing in the industry. So we had to bring something that would actually bring that attention to a somewhat boring subject, right? Regulations aren't always the sexiest thing to talk about.
And one more question from Julie G. She said, if she married you, would you get her a green card?
Look, I'll say this directly to Julie. Julie, you could have whatever you want. You could have whatever you like. Whatever you like. I will. Look, green card, extra passport. You know what? Look, anything for you, Julie. Julie, anything.
Well, cool, man. Where can people find you and send money and all that stuff?
For sure. So you can find me on YouTube at STR Hero. We're building that up a lot. We have a lot of our content on there. We have a lot of events. Our Philly event with Airbnb was last posted on there, so you can check that out. And the best way to reach me is through Instagram, which is the STR Hero. Though our website is strhero.com. And you can email me at Theron, that's T as in Tom, H as in Henry, E as in everyone, R as in Ronald, O as in only, N as in Nancy, at thestrhero.com. So multiple ways to reach out. I would say the quickest way, just hit me up on Instagram, the STR Hero. And if you want to donate, go to sharingphiladelphia.org. Scroll down to the donate section and donate to the cause in Philadelphia. We're on the home stretch. We're about to do what people thought was impossible back in the day. By back in the day, I mean, yesterday. People still think it's impossible, but success in 10 cities. This is just another one where we want to have another success. So we're really excited, and we want to bring this worldwide. So looking forward to helping people in a city near them.
Thank you so much, Theron, for going out there and fighting the good fight for all of us, man. We're 100% behind you, man.
I appreciate that. I'll say one last thing in closing. Atlanta, Dallas, Oahu, Hawaii. Y'all have not listened to my advice, and you guys are losing because of it, but it's not too late. Anybody in that area, and I know you guys are in this situation too, send this to the board. Tell them I will consult with them for free, just so they can get things started. But we need to meet, because you guys, it's not about you guys. You guys are going to jeopardize thousands upon thousands of property owners, and not even property owners, thousands and thousands of citizens, thousands and thousands of business owners, if you guys don't do the right thing. So I know it's tough. I know people are scared, and they have to, it's a lot of politics that goes into these associations. They want to do their own thing, but you guys are doing the wrong thing, and I want to help you guys. So thanks to our sponsors, we're able to help you guys for free to start off, so that you guys can get the leg up. So, when this gets chopped up or whatever, let's blast that out there, because we want to save you guys, but you guys have to step up.
Well, one thing, you opened a can of worms. You said Dallas in there. Hold on. What hasn't Dallas done?
Oh, they basically haven't done anything that I explained to you.
They don't have an association?
So they have an association, but remember what I said, a strong association is one that has the right strategy. So to my knowledge, and this is as of at least 2 weeks ago, they have not hired a lobbyist. They haven't had any backroom conversations with the decision makers and the right folks that the decision makers care about, and that's key. And this isn't something to disparage anybody. I'm just saying that is what's not happening, and that's what's causing them to lose. It's basically the same solution everywhere.
I'm happy you said that. Now we might have to release your video a week early so we can post this to the Dallas Airbnb people, because I didn't know they didn't have a lobbyist, because they've been having these big drives selling wings and shit. And nobody.
Look, I think they have their heart in the right place, but it's not going the right way. From my knowledge, they have only been doing the the council hearings. And as I mentioned to you guys, the council hearings is like the least effective part of everything. It really doesn't. It does barely anything on its own. So, but I'm willing to, again, thanks to the sponsors, we're able to help them to get started for free. We got to get going though. It's times of the essence.
Hey man, Dallas out here having the fish fry for the funeral. All right, so yeah, thanks we might have to release this one early, but yeah, thanks for that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And, I'm wishing you guys all the best. And, hey, if we're doing our part, then the short-term rental industry will definitely be saved.
Thanks, Theron. We'll see you soon, man.
All right. Talk to y'all soon.
See ya.
Take care. Now go fly away. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
That was
good
greatness.
stuff. Good stuff, man. Yeah, that was a good episode. Dang, I kind of threw me for a loop, the Dallas thing, man, because I thought they were on top of their stuff, but clearly not. So I'll definitely be talking to a few Dallas people. Just make sure that we're on top of our stuff over there. So this is a really good episode. He answered a lot of questions I had. Basically, I have a whole notebook for questions I had, but yeah, I'm happy you brought up the whole you do have to involve the OTAs thing because you know me, I'm not an Airbnb advocate, but I guess you do have to use them.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, we have no choice. We have to get involved, man, because this is our business. This is a lot of people's livelihoods, man. So we have to do something. Doing nothing didn't work. Well, we tried. We were doing the wrong things in Arlington. We didn't have an inside person out there. They even did the lawsuit thing, which he said that this is not very fruitful. I even heard that at one of the city council meetings, one of our people, you know, the ones for Airbnb short-term rentals, told them, hey, we hear that you have like this huge budget to hire this most expensive law firm in the country to protect you. Blah. He's complaining to the city council, right? And city council's like, well, we are, you know, given money and we have the right to protect ourselves, you know, said it real calmly. Pretty much they have a blank check to write to the most expensive law firm in the country, and you're gonna go hire Joe Schmo lawyer off the street to try to defend. It's like, come on, man. Grapevine's spending a shitload of money too on a lawsuit, but he said no lawsuit's ever won, man. You got to have an insider, man. You got to go and
you gotta
grease the palms,
man. I tell people that, bro. Like that's how anything gets passed in this country, man. You gotta go grease some pockets, man. That's just simply how it works. Economics, man. That's what we've created the economics with the short-term rentals. Now we gotta go grease some pockets, man.
That's it, man. Or we're gonna get greased ourselves. Shit.
Hell yeah. But the good thing about Dallas, though, they aren't gonna ban it outright. They've already said that they aren't gonna ban it outright. It's just gonna put some regulations on certain neighborhoods, you know. So you know.
Well, the scary one is if it's only in lodging places, like he said, only hotel zoned areas. Like that's one of the options. That one's scary.
Multifamily zoned.
Is that what it was?
Commercial zoned. So therefore, when it's commercial zone, you can still get a little.
Okay.
You know, you can still get a little. What's it? Creative and operate. It's just if they ban it in residential neighborhoods, that could hurt. That's going to hurt people with houses.
People are jumping ship already in Dallas. Shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, well, that was a great show, man. Where can people find us?
Find us IG at Live Let Thrive, TikTok at Live Let Thrive. Also, the masterclass is coming up August 20th. Make sure you're there. Get your tickets. Also, make sure you're in these clubhouse rooms 7:30. 2 people got 50% off to that masterclass just for being in the room. So make sure y'all hit us up there. Follow the clubhouse, IG, join that Facebook group. Leave us a honest review on iTunes. Even if you don't like us, we'll probably just read it out loud and laugh. Also, and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and check out Airbnb, my buddy's badass rental company, and Argest Rentals. You know, Argest is the largest. ARGEST Rentals. Hit us up. Airbnb, PBD Living. Oh yeah.
Hey, we got to get you a what's it called back there, man? An Argest rental sign, my guy.
Oh, we do need one. I'm pimping my hat, man. Everybody's complimenting my hat, so I had to wear the hat today, man.
I advertise every show, man.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, man, thank y'all for continuing to listen to us, man. It's been a fun journey, and we're going to keep pumping it out. Hopefully we hit episode 300 by the end of the year. Possibly. We'll see. So, man, this has been fun, man. If we hit 300, dude. And we got some big stuff coming for y'all, so y'all continue to listen. We are out.
LLT out. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.